Good morning, dear students. A warm welcome to all of you for our today's digital session for the subject Science and Technology, Section B. In our previous session, we have started with the topic of coordination from chapter number 15, Life Processes in Living Organisms. We have seen how coordination occurs in plants, and then we had started with the coordination in human beings, which is done with the help of two systems, nervous control and chemical control. We have studied under nervous control about the neurons and the type of neurons, the human nervous system, which is divided into three parts as central nervous system, peripheral nervous system and autonomic nervous system. We have studied about the central nervous system in details last time. Let us have a glance at it and then move towards the other two types of systems. First, I had told you that coordination in human beings takes place with the help of two systems, nervous control and chemical control. In nervous control, this is the system which plays an important role of empowering the body cells with ability to respond to different impulses. Now, control and coordination is brought about with the help of special type of cells which are called as neurons. We had studied about neurons in details. This is the figure of a neuron. What are neurons? They are the special types of cells which conduct the impulses from one place to another in the body. So the special types of cells which conduct impulses from one place to another in our entire body are called as neurons. As we have seen in the lower classes, cells, they are the structural and functional unit of living organisms. Similarly, here neurons are the structural and functional units of the nervous system, the system which plays a major role in bringing about coordination. Nerve cells, which are the largest cells in the human body, they have a measure of about few meters. They also have the ability to generate and conduct electrochemical impulses. There are certain cells which support these nerve cells and help in their functioning. These cells are called as neuroglia. Nerve cells and neuroglial cells together they form the nerves which form an entire network in your body. Now, how does this neuron function? All the information about our surroundings is collected by the ends or the dendrites of the neuron. Here you see that at this end the chemical process begins and electric impulses are generated which are conducted from the dendrites to the cell body, then from the cell body to the axon and from the axon to its terminal. Then these impulses are transferred from this particular nerve cell to the next, and then the entire process takes place in a very coordinated manner. Movement of the muscle cells is essential to bring about any activity in the human body. Then we had seen the three types of neurons or nerve cells. The first one was sensory neurons, which conduct impulses from the sensory organs to the brain and the spinal cord. Motor neurons, which conduct the impulses from the brain or the spinal cord to the effector organs like muscles or glands. And the third one is association neurons, which perform the function of integration in the nervous system. With examples, I had explained you about this 3 types of neurons last time, and their classification is based according to the function which they perform. Then we had moved towards the human nervous system, which is comprised of 3 parts: the central nervous system or the CNS, peripheral nervous system or PNS, and autonomic nervous system. In central nervous system, we had seen that the main parts of the central nervous system are the brain and the spinal cord. The brain, when you look at the name of this organ, you know that it is the main governing organ of your entire body, which directs or which gives directions to the different organs to perform their particular activity. Then we had seen that the cavities which are present in the various parts of the brain, they are called as ventricles, and the long tubular cavity of the spinal cord is called the central canal. In the space between the delicate CNS and its bony covering are the protective layer which are called as meninges. Then we had moved towards the structure of the human brain. I have told you that it is divided in 2 parts, left brain and the right brain. Left brain is the part of the brain which controls the right side of our body, and the right side of the brain or the right brain, it controls the left side of your body. Apart from this function, there are different functions which are allotted to the particular type of brain. The left side of our brain, it is related with analytical thinking, logical thinking. It has a command on language, science, mathematics. Apart from that, left side of the brain is controlling our speech, conversation, writing, etc. And here we had seen different examples last time. I had told you that there are certain people around us who have a command on maths, whose calculations are very powerful, whose science, they have more interest in science, in logical thinking, in giving answers by applying the logic. So in that case, we can derive that the left part of their brain is more active. Whereas the right side of the brain, it is associated with holistic thinking, intuition, creativity, art and music. There are some kids or people around you which you observe that right from the younger age or right from the kids stage, they are having more interest in different types of arts, dance, music, participation in different competitions, showing some creativity. So here you can say that the right part of the brain is more active, more functional. The 3 parts of the brain are the cerebrum, which is the largest part of the brain, occupies about 2/3 of the brain, and hence it is known as the large brain. Cerebellum, smaller part of the brain, right below the cerebrum, and medulla oblongata, the hindmost part of the brain. After that, we had seen what is spinal cord. Spinal cord is nothing but a part of the central nervous system which is held within the vertebral column. It is slightly thick and gradually tapers towards the end. Then we had seen the different functions of the different parts of the brain. The entire chart I had displayed ahead of you. What are the functions of the cerebrum, of the cerebellum, medulla oblongata, spinal cord? And I have told you each and every function should be revised by you, should be known by you. They can be asked in different ways. A direct question can be asked, give the 2 functions of cerebrum, or give the 2 functions of cerebellum, or under MCQ a question can be asked. The voluntary movements are controlled by the dash part of the brain, and options will be given. So you should know it correctly. Once again, let us have a glance. Cerebrum is associated with controlling of the voluntary movements, concentration, planning, decision making, memory, intelligence, and intellectual activities. Cerebellum, coordination of voluntary movements and maintaining the body's balance. Medulla oblongata, control of the involuntary activities, the activities which are not under your will, which you cannot do on your own, like the beating of the heart, blood circulation, etc. Whereas spinal cord does the work of conduction of impulses from the skin towards the brain, from the brain to the muscles and the glands, and it functions as center of coordination of reflex action. What is reflex action? Ahead in this chapter we are going to see. With this we complete with the first part of the central nervous system of the human nervous system, that is the CNS. Now we move towards the next part of human nervous system, that is peripheral nervous system or PNS. Peripheral. Now what does this peripheral nervous system consist of? The peripheral nervous system, it consists of the nerves which are originating from the CNS. The two types of nerves which are involved here are, first one is the cranial nerves and the second one is spinal nerves. Cranial nerves. The nerves which are originating from the brain are called cranial nerves. That day I had told you that your brain is safely located in a bony cage which is known as the cranium, and the nerves which are originating from the brain, they are hence called the cranial nerves. They are associated with different parts in the body like the head, thorax and the abdomen, and there are total 12 pairs of cranial nerves. This you should know. It can be asked under true or false or MCQ. Whereas the second type of nerves are the spinal nerves. The word itself tells you that they are originating from the spinal cord. See, look at the word. You don't have to remember also. Cranial, originating from the cranium, from the brain. Spinal, the word itself tells you they are originating from the spinal cord, are called as spinal nerves, associated with arms, legs, skin and some other parts of the body, and there are total 31 pairs of spinal nerves. Cranial nerves 12 pairs and spinal nerves 31 pairs. Remember it thoroughly. As I have told you, it can be asked under MCQs, it can be asked under true or false, or a full-fledged question can be asked. Give and explain the two types of nerves which are associated with the peripheral nervous system. This is a direct question. The last type of nervous system, the last part of the human nervous system is the autonomic nervous system. Autonomic. The autonomous nervous system, it consists of the nerves of the involuntary organs like the heart, lungs, stomach, etc. The nerves of the involuntary organs, the organs whose functions are not in our hands. Heart, the working of the heart cannot be controlled by you. The working of the lungs cannot be controlled by us. So these organs are called as involuntary organs, or their movements are called as involuntary movements. So this autonomous nervous system, it consists of the nerves of all these involuntary organs. The next topic, just now I had told you, we are going to study about reflex action. To understand this topic, a simple example I will take in your day-to-day life. Your mother has kept a hot vessel of milk on the, you can say, platform, in the kitchen platform. Unknowingly you pass from that area and you happen to touch that hot vessel. It is very hot. What is your reaction? Without your knowing or without your control, immediately at that particular moment you draw the hand away. Yes or no? Or you are quite in a very relaxed position someone just comes and to trick you, will prick your hand with the pin. You immediately react by shouting and withdrawing your hand. So this immediate and involuntary response which is given to a stimulus from the environment. What is the stimulus? Pricking with the pin, touching the hot object. So that to that particular stimulus you are giving some immediate and involuntary response. This is called as reflex action. Why involuntary response? Because it is not decided by you, it was not decided. Very immediately you are providing that particular response to that particular activity from the environment, and this phenomena is called as reflex action. Sometimes we react to an incident without any thinking on our part or control over the reaction, and this is a response which is given to a certain stimulus from the surroundings. And in such situations, what you see is proper control and coordination is achieved even without intervention of the brain. Here the brain has no role to play. Whatever reaction is given from your side, it is just a response given to a certain stimulus. Without the intervention of the brain, such action is called reflex action. Now here you can see a figure in the textbook of reflex action, figure 15.16 in your textbook. No need of writing and all, just for your knowing they have given the numbers, you have to identify the labels. At number 1 you can see here a burning candle. You happen to touch it unknowingly, so number 1 is the stimulus from the environment. Number 2, receptor in the skin. You know, skin is the sensory organ. Number 3, sensory neuron. What do you mean by sensory neuron? The neurons which conduct impulses from the sensory organs to the brain and the spinal cord. Number 4, association neuron. The neurons which perform the function of integration in the nervous system. Number 5, spinal cord. Number 6, motor neuron. See, all the 3 types of neurons are involved over here. Motor neuron which conducts the impulses from the brain or the spinal cord to the reflector organs like muscles or glands. And finally number 7 is muscles. So in the textbook numbers are given for this figure. For your knowledge, just you can write the names or label in the textbook itself. No need of drawing and all in the notebook. With this we complete the discussion and the explanation about all the 3 types of nervous system which are a part of human nervous system. Now the second system which helps in bringing about the coordination in human beings is the chemical control. So let us see what is chemical control. Chemical control. Now control and coordination in our body takes place with the help of nerves and also with the help of certain chemical substances which are called as hormones. You have heard this word. There is some hormonal imbalance or there are the substances which help in bringing about the control and coordination in your body. So the substances, they are known as hormones and they are secreted by the endocrine glands. There are endocrine glands in our body which secretes these hormones. Now these endocrine glands, they are also called as the ductless glands. Ductless glands. Why? Because these glands, they do not have any arrangement of their own to either store or carry their secretions. They are secreting the hormones, but they do not have a particular arrangement to store or carry their secretions, and hence what happens? As soon as these hormones are produced, they are directly released into the blood circulation, and though these endocrine glands, they are present at specific locations in our body, their secretions reach all the parts of the body through the blood. See, in the previous figure you can see the different glands are located at different positions. Pineal gland, pituitary gland, thymus, adrenal glands. So you can see that though these glands are situated at different positions in the body, but as these secretions, they are sending it directly into the blood, these secretions, they reach the entire part of the body. Now, these endocrine glands along with the nervous system are responsible for the control and coordination in our body. We have seen that nervous system and chemical system, both systems are responsible for bringing the control and coordination. And from the chemical control, they are the endocrine glands. Now, these two systems, they help each other to control and integrate the various activities in the body. You see, the supervisor of the school and the principal of the school, they are responsible for bringing about the control of the different activities which are carried in the school. So similarly here, these two systems are responsible to bring this coordination of different activities in human body. But what is the major difference between these two systems? That is the chemical control and the nervous system. The main difference is that the nerve impulses which are generated by the nervous control, they are fast but short-lived, whereas the action of the hormones is very slow but long-lasting. Now, the secretion of the hormones by the endocrine glands here should be in the required quantity, and there is a special mechanism which controls the quantity and the timing of hormone secretion. These hormones cannot be secreted anyhow, randomly, in any quantity. There needs to be a check on its quantity and the timing. At any time, any hormone cannot be secreted, otherwise it will lead to different problems in the human body. We take an example of insulin, which is being secreted by the endocrine glands. Whenever there is an increase in the blood glucose level, certain cells in the pancreas get stimulated, and as a response they release a greater quantity of insulin. You know, insulin is the hormone which enables to have a control on the blood glucose level, the sugar level. So if the level of sugar or glucose is increasing in the blood, then only the quantity of insulin production should be increased. Now, towards the end, in your textbook on page number 177, you have a list of the different endocrine glands, their location and important functions. You need not have to learn and remember everything. In short, you can just remember and recollect the things. I will just read in short for you. The first gland is hypothalamus, which is located above the pituitary gland in the forebrain. Then it secretes the hormones which control the activity of the secretory cells of the pituitary gland. Functions is controls the pituitary gland. Now main thing you remember here is the name of the gland, in short the different hormones and their functions. Pituitary, there are the different hormones. Prolactin stimulates milk production. Oxytocin contracts the uterus during parturition. Important glands only you remember. Thyroid, it secretes both the hormones thyroxine, calcitonin. Thyroxine controls the growth of body and metabolic activities, whereas calcitonin, word itself tells you, controls the calcium metabolism and calcium level in the blood. Parathyroid gland secretes the hormone parathormone and controls the metabolism of calcium and phosphorus. On this page I will tell you, remember thyroid and pituitary more. You can see so many number of glands along with their functions are given. So to remember each and everything is very difficult. Pancreas, they secrete glucagon, insulin, somatostatin, pancreatic polypeptide, and these are the different functions of it. adrenal gland, which is secreting adrenaline and noradrenaline. Corticosteroid is also the hormone secreted by it, and it has different functions. Ovary, testis, you have to remember, because they are related to the female and male reproductive system, and next year in the 10th standard you have to study about both these reproductive systems in details. So ovary and testis, their hormones and functions, learn it by heart. Ovary secretes estrogen and progesterone, stimulates growth of endometrium, stimulates growth of secondary sexual characteristics in women, prepares the endometrium for conception and maintains the pregnancy. Testis, testosterone is the hormone secreted, stimulates the growth of secondary sexual characteristics like hoarse voice, etc. in men. And the last is thymus, secretes thymosin, controls the cells which gives rise to immunity. Immunity is a must in this stage of pandemic. If you have a good immune system, then you are having less number of chances to get exposed to different types of disorders or diseases. With this, we complete with the explanation of chapter number 15, life processes in living organisms, and we also complete the portion for our upcoming assessment exam in the month of January. Next session, I will be discussing the question answers, the textual question answers for this chapter, and after that, I will be discussing the additional questions and activities for this chapter. So I request all of you, when you attend our next session, you have to be present with the textbook and at least try to find answers on your own. I will be providing you, I will be discussing each and every question, but at least try to find some answers on your own by reading the textbook. Thank you, dear children.